Welcome into a special episode of New Track Record Podcast. Caleb Hatch, Justin Kinney with you from the WELT studios, and we are joined by a special guest, Don Cusick of Cusick Motorsports. Exciting announcement this week. We'll break it all down with Don. Thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. Good morning.
So, you're based out of California, and you kind of got involved with IndyCar thanks to Thermal and that connection there. And now suddenly you have a two-car Indy NXT program for 2026. How did this deal come together and working in partnership with HMD?
Yeah, well, it wasn't exactly suddenly, but we've been wanting to get involved full time in IndyCar almost since year one, and that opportunity just didn't really present itself in the big cars. So my director of Cusick Motorsports, Billy Morgan, started talking with HMD. I guess it was probably just a little bit before this year's Indy 500. And we went out to the shop. We met Henry. We met Mike. And it just seemed to make sense. They needed somebody to join them. We needed to get a little bit more involved, and so they put the deal together, and here we are.
Don, how will this relationship work with HMD? Is it will you guys bring all new equipment? Will it be shared through HMD? What will be the particulars there?
So we're really the commercial partners. We're going to run it under the Cusick Motorsports label with a technical alliance with HMD. So this first year they'll still be handling all the racecraft, and we'll be handling the sponsorships and activations and things like that. And then, from there we'll kind of move forward, and ultimately we'll own the cars and run our own thing.
Don, how important was the new IndyCar and Indy NXT TV deal with Fox and FS1 and FS2 involved to really get this off the ground running?
Well, I just think it's great for the sport, and I think that all things are pointing towards the fact that this has been really good for the sport. It's nice, obviously, that Kevin Lee and Townsend Bell and a lot of the NBC crew moved over. Just keeps continuity for us. But yeah, we're really glad that Fox is involved, and of course now they've announced that they're going to be doing a video game. So everything just kind of is falling into place. Good timing for once.
Yeah, for once. We've all been through the battles, right, of IndyCar.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure. But tell us a little bit about your history, Don, and where your love for open-wheel racing in IndyCar came from.
Well, basically started in the dinosaur age. I've been a fan. I guess I saw my first Indy 500 on closed-circuit television in, it must have been 1963. They were still running front-engine roadsters. Then I think 64 was the first rear engine when Jim Clark came over. But, my dad, the first race I ever went to was a drag race, 1964 Winter Nationals out at Pomona. And I just fell in love with the sights, the sounds, the smells, everything about it. I was only 8 years old back then. But anyway, that's kind of what lit the fire. And then my dad bought me a quarter midget, and we started racing that. And, from then on, it just, the bug bit me hard. I did spend a lot of years not doing any racing, building my company. And then when we sold the company in April of 2020, my wife said, the first thing we're going to do is go join the Thermal Club. And I said, I don't think so. She said, oh, no, we are, because she knew of my love of racing. So that's what kind of reignited everything. We went out there. It was right smack dab in the middle of COVID. It was kind of funny. It takes about 3 hours to get from our house to the desert, but there was nobody on the road, so we did it in like 2 hours. And we went out there, we bought the house, bought a couple of race cars, and that was it. That's kind of the stepping stone to everything that's happened since then.
And Don, motorsport at the time, oddly thanks to COVID, really experienced a rebirth. I mean, a lot of people can credit the Drive to Survive effect, and that kind of trickled across all their motorsports. So the timing seemed to be right for you to then get involved just a year later in the Indy 500.
Yeah, that was a pretty unexpected road. I think everybody knows the story about I bought the Track Attack Gen 6 NASCAR from Hendrick Motorsports. Repurposed Gen 6 cars that they made for track day. In fact, I bought the third one they ever made. But anyway, one of the race directors at the time at Thermal said, "Hey, I got this IndyCar driver. He's thinking about NASCAR. Can he come out and take some laps in your car?" And I said, "Yeah, that'd be great." And one thing led to another, and as everybody knows, that's kind of what got me involved in IndyCar.
Don, tell us about your relationship with Thermal and IndyCar, and how involved, if any, were you with the series coming to Thermal and racing?
Oh, we're members, but we're very good friends with the owners, Tim and Tawana Rogers, and also with Mike Long. And Mike is the Aero of Aero McLaren. He's on the McLaren Racing Board. So, I mean, we definitely, we chatted with him about it. We made introductions, things of that nature. But, when it came down to it, that was a negotiation that occurred between the Rogers family and the Penske organization. Candidly, the Rogers put up a heck of a lot of money, took a shot at it. Had that spring practice out there year one, I think the $1 Million Challenge was year 2, and then an actual points race year 3. And it was great. I mean, I think it was fun. I don't know for sure that IndyCar will come back. It's a limited venue, and I think a lot of the fans, or at least the vocal fans, just kind of misunderstood what it was all about. And, so it made it a little bit difficult from a commercial perspective. But, we loved having them out there. Nothing like having Indy cars on your home field.
Not too bad to step onto the back porch and having Indy cars going by, for sure.
I'll tell you, I'd do it over every day if I could.
Don, you mentioned the desire of wanting to get into what you referenced, the big cars with IndyCar. With the charter system becoming adopted, did that make it more difficult for you to find a path directly into IndyCar?
Yeah, I think that's part of it, certainly. The other part's been the talk about new chassis, and, got pushed back a couple of times, but I thought we were on a path, and then, when it got pushed to 2028, it just kind of changed our course, and I think, other people's too, but we're working on some things right now. Can't tell you those yet, but good opportunity. We may be full season in 2026 with one of the teams.
So there's a potential announcement coming up tomorrow. I'll just read between the lines with that one. But as far as the Indy 500, are you guys expected to be back and have a car or multiple cars on the Indy 500 entry list for 2026?
We will. Yes, we will be back for sure in 2026. I'm not sure with which team yet. We're talking to several different ones about some opportunities, but we will be there for sure. And tomorrow's announcement, unfortunately, is not about the big cars. It's another Indy NXT announcement. I think it's today, actually. We'll definitely be there in some capacity in 2026 and beyond.
Don, when you look at Indy NXT and the rise of that as well, what have you seen in recent years to make that more alluring? We've seen Chip Ganassi create a team now for NXT, and is what has made it a lot easier in terms of the path to IndyCar. So what have you seen in terms of the transformation with that series in recent years to make it more appealing for guys like yourself?
I guess probably for us, the main reason is the barrier to entry is much less expensive. We can pretty much run a full season of Indy NXT with one car for the price of the Indy 500. So, like I said, that makes the barrier of entry a lot easier for us. But, I think it's good competitive racing. Obviously, they run most of the same schedule that the Indy cars run, so that's nice. We're there. We're in the paddock. I think it gives our commercial partners, kind of a sneak peek, if you would, at what IndyCar racing is like. They can come out, they can be on the Indy NXT car, they can see what that's all about, and then the next day they can be wandering around the IndyCar paddock. So I just think for us, it just makes a ton of sense. I like the way it's going. I think the drivers in Indy NXT are super competitive. Some of them are matriculating into IndyCar, which is nice because that was always the traditional path. Like I said, I think the video game, the Fox Sports, I think everything they're doing helps, and I do think that there'll be more focus on Indy NXT as we go forward. At least that's our intent.
How big would it be for Indy NXT if they were to return to racing on the IMS Oval?
I would love that. I think it would be huge. That would be the perfect scenario. I don't know that that's going to happen. I know, obviously, it's been talked about. But, for me, that would be the ultimate best thing that could happen.
Don, when you look at this 2025 IndyCar season, we'll have the season finale this Sunday at Nashville Super Speedway. We've seen a dominant performance out of Alex Palou, but what on your end has really stood out, I guess, as a race fan and also as a businessman within the series?
Well, I was really hoping and praying that Alex was going to get an F1 offer. that would have been my grand desire. Dominant performance. He's a heck of a race car driver. He's a heck of a guy. I'm very, very happy for him and all that he's accomplished. It's really been amazing to see. He's kind of like the Scotty Scheffler of auto racing, He just finds a way to be at the top, and it's been fun to watch him do that. Highlights for me were probably highlights and lowlights all on lap 170 of the 500. To have been leading with a very real chance to win the race, and then have the heartbreak of that pit stop and run out of fuel, literally 300 yards short of the pit box, was probably the ultimate high and low. I guess, for me, I just think the competitive racing and just kind of the upbeat feeling in the paddock with all the positive changes, that's probably been the best part for me.
Don, you've gotten your motorsports team off the ground. It's been several years. What's the ultimate goal, and where do you want to be in 5 years' time?
Oh, boy. Yeah, well, 5 years from now, I'll be 74, so I guess I'd start with, just waking up on the right side of the grass. Our ultimate goal is to run full-time. I don't see us owning a standalone team. I think if we do run full-time, it'll be as a partner with one of the existing teams. I think we would like to have equity in one of the existing teams if we could, and just kind of build it up and leave a little bit of a legacy for Billy Morgan, who's really been working super hard behind the scenes to build this program for us. I have to really take my hat off to Billy. He's done a heck of a job.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention you guys are a platinum partner for the PRI Hoosier 500, which we're also affiliated with. How big is sim racing to you and getting new people involved in the sport of IndyCar and motorsports in general?
Yeah, I love that. I'm very proud to be a part of that, and was happy to talk with those gentlemen and get involved. So it's interesting. I bought a couple of racecraft sims through Tony Kanaan, which was pretty cool because Tony actually came to Thermal and installed them and hung out with us. But I haven't had a lot of time on them yet. So, I push that restart button pretty frequently, prepare the cars and get them back. I think that sim racing is awesome. I think it's a great way to introduce people to the sport relatively inexpensively. So, yeah, I kind of love it. It's a ton of fun. Of course, at Thermal, we actually get to spend time on the track in our cars. So it'll be interesting to see. I think what's going to end up happening is we'll drive our cars till lunchtime, have lunch, and then go in and have a glass of wine and drive the sims is probably what we're going to spend the winter doing. We'll see how that goes.
All right, Don Cusick on the track at Thermal. What is he prefer? What's the preferable drive while he's slinging it around the track?
Oh boy, there's a great question. Twofold answer to that. So, I think my favorite car. I have a GT3 Porsche Weissach, and we've modified it pretty heavily for track only use, suspension, chip tune, exhaust, all that kind of stuff. And that darn car with slicks on it runs within, a tenth of a second of my 991 Cup car time. But it has air conditioning. I can drive it in short pants and a t-shirt, and so it's pretty good. You get into the rule at Thermal is anything with a fire suppression system, you have to wear a full race suit, which can be a little uncomfortable in Thermal when it's warm.
I can imagine.
But, race car, I think the NASCAR is probably my favorite. There's really nothing like that sound, and, obviously the windows are open, and that's pretty raw power. Those are super fun to drive. But I think my GT3 RS is probably my favorite.
Have you done the IndyCar two-seater ride?
I have not. I have control issues. I'm not sure about getting in the back seat. My wife's done it several times, and of course, that's the two-seater rides are always part of our fan experience and sponsor experience at Indy, and it looks like great fun. I just haven't worked up the courage yet. Davey Hamilton was really trying to get me to do it this year, and I just it came close, but I somehow was somewhere else when the time came. I don't know how that happened.
Don, before we let you go, obviously exciting news with the Indy NXT team. Any timeline for future announcements coming in terms of drivers or additional partners for this program?
Yeah, we do have a driver announcement today. We're going to be running a car at Nashville in the Indy NXT for the last race. It'll be a full Cusick livery. I think that comes out soon. I think 9 o'clock Pacific time. So that'll come out. And then for IndyCar, it's going to be after September 1st. That's kind of our hard deadline to get things signed and done. And, should be shortly thereafter. We'll hold off on the partnership announcements too until we announce who we're running with. But I would guess by mid-September, we'll be making those announcements.
Don, thanks so much for the time, and good luck with Indy NXT in 2026, and also IndyCar and the Indy 500 in the future as well.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on, you guys.
Really interesting stuff from Don, especially. They're not partnering with Coin, but a different IndyCar team, so could it be Juncos? Could it be Prema?
Could it be... I don't know.
Yeah, right. And then obviously they're going to announce their Indy NXT driver in one of their entries. So racing at Nashville this weekend. So a lot of good stuff, and looking forward to those announcements, which unfortunately will come out right after we're done recording this. But appreciate Don. Also, thanks to the guys at the PRI Hoosier 500 for setting this up for us as well. Don't forget that coming up in December, the sim race. For those interested, this is going to be a really cool deal. December 14, 2025, the Hoosier500.com. That's where you can get more information on that event. But
when you look at potential teams to partner up with, and you mentioned a couple of them, and you look at Prema, who's looking for capital effectively, and it's easier for me to throw Don's money around than Don throw his money around. But I mean, could that be a partnership? And then let's say there's a third entry for the 500 next year as a Cusick Motorsports entry. I mean, potentially. But being, for what it sounds like, at least in 2026, very much a financial partner with HMD. Also, what I found interesting is HMD then dropping to 4 cars next year from what, 9?
Yeah, seemingly.
So, I mean, you count the Cusick Motorsports 2 cars, so you're effectively at 6, but that's at least 3 seats gone, 3 cars gone from the field for next year for HMD, which we knew eventually they weren't going to keep putting in 9 or 10 cars in Indy Lights. So that'll be a storyline to watch on who picks up the slack there in terms of the field.
Could the partner team be Foyt? If, they have a change in...
True, but they are also technically have a partner with Penske.
That's true. That's true. Will that continue, though, after this year?
I don't know. If Malukas goes to Penske, then Penske may say, okay, we're done with financing your ride because we have the guy in our seat that we wanted. So who knows? But we'll stay tuned. It sounds like there is going to be plenty of movement on the Don Cusick Motorsports front. But, Prema needs financial help. Again, it's easy for me to spend Don's money, but that seems to be maybe if they want to go to that direction and have some say on who's in the seat and do an extra car as Cusick Motorsports, maybe that's the play.
We shall see. I'm sure we'll find out by the time we have our next episode potentially coming up next week. Thanks again to Don. As always, you can find us on your favorite podcasting platform, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can find us on social media, IndyCar Podcast, the handle on Twitter /X, also on Instagram, on Facebook. Just search for New Track Record. You can email us, newtrackrecordpodcast@gmail.com, and support us via Patreon, patreon.com/newtrackrecord. Thanks to Xavier and others for their support. For Justin Kinney, I am Caleb Hatch. Thanks for joining us for this special edition of New Track Record Podcast.